Let's take money, for example, right? Money is a difficult one. It creates an untold amount of suffering in this planet, right? Planets that are more advanced, in those civilizations, money doesn't even exist. But here, we have this crazy system. On the other hand, it presents a very interesting spiritual challenge. So, you can start with this simple drive by trusting that consciousness knows, completely knows, that your mind, body, organism needs money to survive. So when the money is restricted, or when you have fear around or anxiety around money, you immediately remind yourself, no, I leave this to consciousness. I leave it to consciousness. And consciousness knows the needs of this mind, body, organism. So you don't take the problem yourself. If you take it yourself, of course you have to do your part, right? But you do your part, perhaps you look for a job or whatever is necessary, but you don't take on the problem itself. You leave the problem to the divine. Then the same, you have a health issue, and you know that, well, if something goes really wrong, the body will dissolve. So as long as consciousness wants to look through and function through this mind-body organism, the body will keep repairing itself. So you do the same. You can leave the result of that particular condition, leave it to the divine, and then you relax. And it's very healing, right? Because now the mind is relaxed, not tense. Then you move one step up. Let's move one step up. You have a problem with, let's say, an addiction, right? Everybody has some addictions, little or small or big, depends. So, we see this process in the Alcoholics Anonymous, right? In the 12-step programs, over and over and over. What do they do in the 12-step program to solve an addiction? Addictions are so powerful, are such a strong attachments, that don't try to do it yourself. Stop trying to do it yourself. Do what has been proven to work, which is you surrender. You ask for help to that divine consciousness. You recognize that it's beyond your power. Same as the Alcoholics Anonymous that goes, it recognizes it's beyond my power. I ask the higher self, my higher self, or the higher consciousness to take care of this. So you surrender the addiction. If you have an aversion to something sensorial that could be problematic, you can do the same. But you can use, for example, the surrendering technique that I have taught in these satsangs, right? The surrendering technique has a template, and the template is very simple. In non-duality, lately I have been using a template that is the following. And I have mentioned other templates in the past. You can play with this one. The template is the divine surrenders this aversion in this case, or this emotion, or whatever, completely. That's the fundamental template, and then you say, thank you, yes, yes, right? So the first part of the template is a little bit like Ho'oponopono, where you are coming from what you are really. Yeah, you, the divine consciousness, surrender this, which is in the mind-body organism, right? But you surrender it, you let it go. And then the second part, when you say thank you, is more dualistic, because now is the little self that is saying thank you to consciousness, which is the real self. And when you say yes, yes, is the approval of the little self approving this, saying yes, consenting, using its free will to let go, right, of the aversion. So let me repeat the template. The divine surrenders this, whatever it is, completely. Thank you, yes, yes. If you want it completely non-dual, I would suggest you do it this way. The divine surrenders this, whatever, completely, and then you repeat the word completely 2 or 3 times. Completely, completely, completely. That's it. Then it becomes very, very non-dual, very clean, right? See, think that the language, the difficulty we have as teachers is to teach non-duality, is that the language is based on duality, right? It's a dualistic system. So you approach non-duality through the language, you can approach it, right? But it's always very tricky. So experiment with this. Experiment with different templates. In the Ho'oponopono, for example, when you say sorry, that sorry that is being said for the person that has done something to you, it's because you are coming from consciousness, from the one, not from the little self. So the Ho'oponopono is a technique that also uses your true self to state it, not the little self. So the surrendering technique can do the same. And then in that case, you say that the divine surrenders this completely. In the third center, your personal success can be a very strong attachment. So you can use the surrendering technique every time you initiate a project. For example, you surrender the results. You just do your part. And you can use the surrendering technique for that purpose. Or you can say, well, I leave the results of these efforts in the hands of the divine until you really mean it, right? In the hands of that one consciousness. This is not our world. You can have the best intention to do something, but right, who is not the world of the ego. This world belongs to consciousness. And here, when it comes to the fourth center, about relationships, surrendering all your relationships is very valuable, because relationships are a constant fluctuation, right? There are good moments where you feel very harmony with everybody, then suddenly something happens, and if you're in a couple relationship, they go through phases and challenges. So you stop expecting perfect relationships, and you surrender your relationships to the divine.